Aloha everybody, I'm Cheryl Hamilton, Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Maui. Today I want to show you how to make a card that we made last week in one of my classes, and sometimes I have trouble figuring out ways to use vellum, and this is just one of many to give you an idea. So I used the sunflower. I did an in-color class for this really beautiful color, Starry Sky, and it has vellum in here and some designer series paper peeking through the back. So stay tuned and I'll show you how to put this together. So first I want to show you how this card looks up close, and then when you open it, what it's like. So I've just used a couple pieces of designer series paper, and this is a little strange, but I thought it was kind of cute. I ended up cutting it out of there, having this leftover piece, so I just put it there to write your sentiment on. To start with your card, you're going to use Petal Pink, and I've cut a piece of cardstock that's 8.5 by 5.5, scored down the middle at 4 1/4, and then I'm using my Celebrate Sunflowers set, and then it comes with a bunch of dies called sunflower dies that I've used tons of times and never disappoints. It's a really great well, you can't really get it as a bundle, but it's a great coordinating set that you can get. Okay, so I have used those dies, cut this out of the front, and instead of cutting out right in the middle, I wanted some room for Thanks a Bunch at the bottom. So I cut out I set it up just a little bit, so it's at the top part. Okay, so that was the first thing. Set this aside. Okay, next thing was, my whole purpose in this card was to figure out ways to use this lovely layers vellum. Now, I've used most of the fun ones already. They have some leafy ones that, you know, with dark leaves all across them that I really loved. And then they've got some circles. And then I discovered at the end of the pack, they have a whole bunch of plain ones. And so I thought, I've got to do something with these. So that's what I'm doing today. You can definitely stamp on vellum and it looks really pretty. It's very vibrant. And so I'm going to take the Thanks a Bunch with Starry Sky, and I'm taking my vellum, and I just want to do it across the bottom. It's hard to see it, but I'm trying to get it straight there. So I leave it for a few seconds, pull it up, and there you go. And you can see that it's wet. If I touch it now, can you see? Well, you can't really tell. I can tell looking at it that there's still little parts on it. Like, look at the part on that T that's a little bit, it just looks wetter. So don't touch it. Stay away from it while you're doing it. And I think I'll be okay with this, but I brought it over to the front of the card and positioned it. And I just want to stamp leaves on the vellum where I think they should go. So here, I'm going to put them right there where my sunflower is going to be. Set this aside. Don't touch it because you don't want to smear it. It takes, I don't know, a couple of minutes to dry. And now I'm going to go use this die, Starry Sky, and I'm going to cut out a sunflower. I've put my die with my cardstock in my Big Shot, which isn't called a Big Shot anymore, sorry, Stampin' Cut Emboss machine. I'm going to crank it through, and when you have a die that's this intricate, you know, with a whole bunch of little teeny cutout pieces, I tend to go forward and then I slide it back again. So it goes through 2 times. And another thing I like to do, you'll see when I pick it up, it comes right out, and you can either just bang it, it makes a mess all over the place. Well, maybe you can't. A lot of times, see how they're kind of coming out? You could do that, or you can go over, and they have, I'll put the item number next to it, but you can get a brush. This is an old one, but you can get a brush that hooks on your take your pick tool, and it just goes right on there. It's the whole brush, and it comes with 2 of these pads, and then you just kind of go over your dies and they pop right out like that. It's super simple. I remember days of having this, hang on, I lost my take your pick tool. Okay, so I remember days of having this doily one. It was beautiful, but I would have to poke out every single little thing in the doilies, and it made me crazy. So, well, you take a chance if you flick it like this that you're going to tear it, but this is almost all done. And then you've got these in the middle that I don't care if they're poked out, so I'm just going to poke out a few of them. You might want to poke out every single one, and you be my guest. They're harder to get, and maybe if I brushed over them with the brush, they would come out a little bit better, but you have to be, you can't go really, really hard or you're going to tear one of these. But isn't that pretty? Okay, get this out of here. Okay, so here's my card. I'm going to fold it in half, crease it with the bone folder, and I'm going to stick on my designer series paper first. Now, if you really like this side coming through, you're not going to see it a lot, but I tended to like this one. Let me pick one I like. I kind of like all of them. So, but I kind of want that coming through. So obviously I'm not going to smear glue all over the whole thing. I don't want glue in the middle. I'm just going to put it around the edges. And then you're going to put it on the front. This is a great way to show off some of your designer series papers. A lot of you guys are like me, and you have a whole closet full of designer series paper. Here's a great idea to use it, and it's beautiful. Let me see, I wanted a different one here. And it's fun when you open a card to see something really decorated on the inside. That's kind of neat. Okay, just because I see this right here, I'm going to put it down. And because I have my leaves right here already, I'll just put a couple more. So I think my inside's done. And again, I'm gonna wait. I guess it's dry, but I don't want to close it immediately because then I'll have a little blue mark over here. I'm nervous. So let me open it like this. Here's my vellum that's dry. And so to attach vellum to a paper is always tricky. It'll work with glue, but it'll show. You could use the old snail, but that'll show. And I prefer glue dots. And I know this is I lost them. This is kind of different, but I like to use the glue dots from Paper Pumpkin. Here's some Paper Pumpkin glue dots. And when I do my paper pumpkins, I don't tend to use these because they take a lot of time to glue down stuff. I just use Tombow. But I have found that these don't even show up if you put them, and I'm just going to use 4 and stick them in corners. They're also much easier if you take your pick tool. If you're trying to use your fingers or fingernails, it could be frustrating, just take you too long. So you just do that and it comes right off. Super simple. And then when you put it down, it's hard to move it, so get it as straight as you can. Yeah, that's good. And then put it down in those corners, and see, you can't even see them, the dots. So I'm happy with that. And then I've got this cute little thing, and I'm just going to put Tombow around the middle part. Don't put too much because you don't really want it oozing through the holes too much. Your goal is just to have it stick and not come off. That's your only goal. There you go. Oh, I forgot about this part. Now look, see on the die cut, I always look for these 3 curvy petals. So 1, 2, 3. Can you see how they kind of curve? So that's my only like landmark. And when I'm looking at this one, where are they? Here they are, 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to line it up with these because it looks really neat when it lines up perfectly. And that's how I do it. You can either stand here like I am, or this is one of the great uses of this big old block. It's just to help things dry flat sometimes. I think all I'm doing is adding little rhinestones, which of course I've moved. Oh, I'm almost so prepared for stuff, but not really. I'll just do these. These are called Iridescent Rhinestone Basic Jewels. And we have so many good embellishments, you kind of can't go wrong. Let me see, about one here. This is really a fun part, don't you think? It's like such a tough decision. Thanks a bunch. Okay, so there's my card. Cute way to use vellum where you could see the designer series paper through it. And then there's the inside. Here's what I'll do for the envelope, and that's it. So I hope you enjoy this card and use your vellum because it's really beautiful and a fun way. And look how pretty it is when you stamp on it. Okay, hope everybody has a great day, and thanks again for listening to my video, and please subscribe if you haven't done that already. Okay, aloha.